Hallihallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Ausgabe Let's Test, diesmal Citizen Sleeper. Das Spiel hat eine USK-Freigabe ab 12 aufgrund von belastenden Themen, würde normalerweise 18 € kosten, ist aber momentan gerade kostenlos verfügbar, wurde von, wie wir es gesehen haben, Jump Over the Edge entwickelt, was ich amüsant finde, weil ich kenne nur Jump Over the Edge, also spring über die Kante, aber nicht spring über das Alter. Entwickelt und Fellow Traveler veröffentlicht. Man findet das Spiel in den Genre Abenteuererzählung RPG, Features und Einzelspieler und beschrieben wird das Ganze mit den Worten Roleplaying in the ruins of interplanetary capitalism. Live the life of an escaped worker washed up on a lawless station at the edge of an interstellar society, inspired by the flexibility and freedom of TTRPGs. Choose your friends, escape your past and change your future. Ich würde sagen, okay, man kann zwar bestätigen, aber man kann nicht im Menü mit dem Controller umgehen. Das ist schade. Nee, okay, Sprache. Ja, ich würde mal sagen, das Beste, was wir hinbekommen, ist Englisch. Und dann starten wir mal einfach mal ein neues Spiel. So, Operator. Choose your character class. Works with drones and high-precision remote machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Interface +1. Endure your strength or strength of will. Okay, jeder hat wo hier so seine Vorlieben. Machinist ist eher ein Engineer und weniger ein Engage. Work Efficient Extractor Change to gain random script is on engine actions. Ja, ich würde mal sagen, wir nehmen das klassische Operator Klassensystem und starten das Spiel. Unknown. Where are you? The first thing you become aware of in waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. Daten, Items können wir nicht abrufen. Cryptocurrency stored in air-walled sticks are known as shits. Okay, continue. The first thing you become it's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood wheeling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach until you can't tell one from the other. Cold slips in behind and around you, and the sensation fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dull nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feels immediately present, cold, hard, and your back and face capping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and easy. A reminder that harm is immediate. There is no resistance stroke, no trapping nervous, just a warning delivered with banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited, and once you got the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either the plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on the grim and heartless rock. Even in the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze the solid long before you reached any destination. Ja, dann warten wir mal. Beziehungsweise versuchen uns auszuruhen, ja. But you are restless. restless. It has been a long time since you left. Certainly weekly baby month. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind and once again recall it to a dream of when you were once a person. Das klingt für mich gerade so ein bisschen wie Robocop. Time passes, the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too, everywhere screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing through protected sense. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer until in a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. Jo. Okay, mit dem WASD können wir steuern. Also W und S gehen wir den Raumschiff hoch runter. Ah, man kann mit dem Controller auch interagieren, sehr schön. Mit dem linken Stick, gut zu wissen. D ist auf jeden Fall, drehen wir die Kamera auf jeden Fall. A auch. Dragos, Chromatic Salvager. Ganz kurz. Chromatic and Private Salvager. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container he handled in the corner of his scrappy yard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mealer blanket. You're slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ordinary curving element of a greasy heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some coherent beyond recognition, others still carrying ghastly bones along their edges where plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace the shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, Sleeper, you're off the edge? Almost. Never seen one of you coming like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of your frozen solid-to-hull plants or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eye of the mark a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perched, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Ja, sieht ziemlich nett aus, der Dragos, ne? Mit seiner Drohne und seinem Programm, was er da mit seinen Augen steuern kann. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read this expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. What happened to them? He ignores your question. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you know that you can't go back. Your old body that's there now, and you're just software, a rather emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You're not alone. You remember biometrically signing the forms the code for on your feet as you paddle to the sleeper cell. The promise of a life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer the person that you are, an offshot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one did. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. Essence Arb wants to protect the property, but if they can't keep a hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember the two, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence, built-in dependencies on the regular administrated supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you're one of the lucky ones. Dragons glances up and away towards the classic dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragus impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with, he trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you are welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you, emotion, fatigue. You shakily get your feet. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragon stalks back into the works. His drones already covering on a rustling hulk, plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to Erland's Eye tutorial introduction. Life on the Eye runs in circles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each circle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the circle now. Select location by clicking on the icon. Okay. Aber wir können jetzt noch nicht mehr weiter scrollen irgendwie. Empty container. End cycle. All cycles need to end, rest and prepare for the next one. Oh, da gehen wir mal schlafen, gell? Container, 4 steel walls. You wake curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. The message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mailer blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this rule station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the other make it out? It's impossible to know, after all this, what matters. Ja, ich würde sagen, wir bauen uns jetzt mal ein Leben auf, oder? Weil flüchten ist halt schwierig auf so einer Raumstation. Antworten bekommen können wir natürlich auch machen. Oder wir bauen uns halt ein Leben auf. Ja, ich würde sagen, wir bekommen Antworten. It all matters. The past is impossible to escape if it remains a blur. What SNR did to you cannot be forgotten. You need a way of understanding all this before you can move on. Where are you? What is this place? What happened to the others? The questions outnumber the answers. You want to change that, but you'll have to learn to survive first. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container. The mailer blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded seconds of some desiccated power. You thumb the powder start of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sackets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring like the station, but skeletal and ghostly, a web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Flickering, okay. Condition. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. Also das ist hier oben die gelbe Leiste. It bleeds by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence, injuries or lack of food. Oh Gott, das heißt, wir müssen noch Essen auftreiben. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Action dice. At the start of each circle, you roll your action dice. These dice can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the fewer dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Okay, gut zu wissen. Energy, you also need to eat to survive. Ah, das ist unsere Hungerleiste. Ist das jetzt bis hierhin schon voll oder muss das komplett voll sein? You can refill your energy bar by eating, but first you'll have to find somewhere to get food. Your energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. Ah, 2 segments, jetzt ist das hier 1 und 2, okay. If it becomes empty, you will be starving. When starving, energy loss becomes condition lose, and your condition will also deplete at a double rate per cycle. Okay. Also wir haben... Wir haben hier diese Rollen, also die Roll the Dices. Würfelrollen können wir hier. Schauen, wie viele Züge wir machen können. Dragos is standing in the corridor when you close up the container. He is still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes irising. How are you feeling? Not good. The drone chirps, Dragos nods. You notice that beneath the operator's rig his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it's keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Work? Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of the container out of the goodness of my heart. He looks away. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off the shipyards or the pride market, dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously I slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Chits? These! He pulls out a handful of small metal bars, air-walled cryo isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. He stuffs them back in a pocket. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can and sleepers. Well, he trails off. But things being the way that they are for me at the yard, he pauses. I need the help. Why? Things are a little tight, that's all. I owe a little cryo to a client here or there. He paused, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you are feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Also wohin geht er jetzt gerade? Zu den Feldern, zum Yard. Looks like it's time to get to work. Gut, dann gucken wir mal ganz kurz, wo... Lowland Gate, passengers into the Lowland. Dragos Yard. Ich bin gespannt. Ich würde schon gerne mal hier reinschauen. Aber eigentlich müssen wir jetzt erstmal arbeiten gehen. Actions are the primary way you interact with the world of citizen sleepers. To perform an action, click and drag your chosen action dice to the slot. Action dice affect the outcomes as follows. Okay, zur Hälfte neutral, ansonsten 50-50, ob es positiv oder negativ wird. Hier haben wir 50-50, ob es gut wird oder neutral. Volle Würfelaugen sind halt volle positive Chancen. Action brought you with clock, press, energy, condition or item depending on the outcomes. There are three types of outcome. Positive action goes better than expected, the action succeeded, the action fails. Even the Russ's hull can hide valuable components and materials except by means cutting carefully and skillfully. It's going to take some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of salvage, but you are no stranger to hard labor. Okay. Display information about the type, risk level, and the skill and modifiers that apply to the action. Repeatable action. Even the road pierce hull can hide valuable components and materials extraction. That means cutting carefully and skillfully. Either critical or repeatable critical actions can only be performed once. Risk, either safe, risky or danger. No loss of condition, energy or cryo. Negative outcome means cryo or energy loss. Negative outcome means condition loss. Negative outcome, not neutral outcome can mean cryo or energy loss. Okay. Das heißt, wir müssen da auch noch gut aufpassen. Manual salvage. Skill. The skill that is actually requires either engineer, interface, endure, intuit, or engage. Modifier either -1, 0, +1, or +2. This is added to the action dice when slotted in a improves this value. Some action required is +1 to perform. Okay. Ja, dann würde ich mal sagen, Input Dice. Versuchen es mal mit den hier. Achso. Start Action. Working und Action of in progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your action and how they affect the world. Filling a clock means something good or bad is about to happen. Some clocks, such as the one tracking Dragon's Depth, are cycle clocks. These clocks tick themselves one each cycle and can complete without playing input. Any active cycle clocks will be displayed on the icon for that location. Debt called in, Dragus is tied up in something ugly, and if he missed a payment or two, things could get nasty. Every salvager knows they are always just one lucky hole away from their next payday. Okay. Swipe. Find a doctor. Tutorial. Drives and navigation. As it's a sliver, you will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself and the world. Drivers guide you in pursuing specific objectives depending which path you wish to take. You can track drivers, and any track driver will place a yellow marker on location that will help you pursue your goal. Access your driver menu via the arrow button at the top or left of the screen. Okay. You are not free to explore Elden's Eye and make a life for yourself here. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your engine up and a way to recover condition. Fill clocks to progress stories and find new opportunities. Remember to cycle at your home when you are out of dice. Use the mouse wheel or W and S, also W und S, to scroll along the station. Rotate the view with A and D. Das haben wir schon herausgefunden. Good luck. Okay. Okay. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this attempt will come to a rapid end. Find a doctor. Double tracking. Okay. Some time to sort and cut your way through the towers of Savage, but you are no stranger to hard labor. Ja, gucken wir mal, bis hier reinkommt. Back Business plus 10 Kryo. Es wird nicht gut ausgehen, aber wir probieren es mal. Oh, Back Business und 10 Kryo. Das ist nett. So, müssen wir halt gucken, wo ein Doktor ist. Doc, ist aber kein Doktor. Doc, Pride Market, Loaded Gate. Feinde Doktor. Wo könnten wir denn... Pay his kindness in time. Hey, pay off Trigger's debt. Ich guck mal hier rein. Will to run the gauntlet on the healing system are rare, but those that almost return eventually. Hier können wir auch nichts machen. Rotuna, Old Dock Terminal. Ja, ich glaube, wir haben keine Dices mehr, keine Dingens. Ja, wir haben keine Würfel mehr. Gut, da müssen wir halt jetzt erstmal schlafen gehen. Weil wir auch out of Cycle sind, end of Cycle. So, fading. This time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting lentil ring surrounds you. For a moment you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed knots they connect to. You see the station. No, you feel the station like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. You find a point at the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and path under around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try in a moment of impulsiveness to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, ending and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a struggling feeling pulling at you insistently as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling into two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden everything shuts off. You come back trampling into his unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open on the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective knots waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. Okay, da ist jetzt gerade was angekommen hier. Ich bin gerade ein bisschen irritiert. Hier das kleine Schiffchen. So, wir haben Bright Market gesehen. The smell, sound, and buzzing activity of the Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one too. Why wonder when there are hundreds of people that live and work within the Bright Market? All you need is the courage to approach them. Ja, ich würde mal sagen, wir gehen mal auf den Risky, nicht auf den Danger-Weg. 100% positiv. You keep your attention on the crowd around you as you pass along the Bright Walkways, taking it all in with an expert eye. Local knowledge of the Bright Market is in the busiest part of the eyes. Lower rim, you can find anything and everything here. The smell, sounds, and buzzing activity on the Bright Market makes dizzying. Also. Yay! Local knowledge, neutral outcome. Das ist dann halt jetzt schon mal gestrichen. Wir brauchen jetzt nicht mehr für die Sachen zu fragen. Local knowledge, the brightest business part. Okay. Action unavailable. Action unavailable. Okay. Leave. Da. Sabine. New drive discovered. Next. Come to the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuttle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the curve, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that the doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang are forced on the door, the flickering light stripes with the carrying headlock. They have all made the long cure as a test of your nerve, but your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizing this body, your body will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the cure. You try to find something to distract yourself. Look inside. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway. Screen with plastic sheeting beyond which blurred shapes move. The slab of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. Wait your turn, he crawls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through a dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the Bright Market's steel roof and the buzzing traffic above. And for a moment, you are transfixed by the motion. Doctor in the Bright Market. Sabine! Come, sit, called a sharp voice, and you see a silhouette figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak, they blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please sit, they gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to the eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expressions. When you first entered, fear, recognition, sadness unmistakably attached across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, a scanner still on their eye. A few circles. They nod. It's good you came to me, they said, a diagnostic scanner on the table. Going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body's dying, they say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. S&R doesn't like to see proprietary technology let loose to prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping. They build in a progress of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay repeatedly when you're not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which S&R remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sounds familiar? That's okay. Most sleepers are prevented from proper access to this kind of information before they sign up to be emulated. That's how this works. S&R goes to great lengths to conceal their administration of stabilizer to active sleepers. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal devices over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch or the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And S&R has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know, little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help, they sigh. And you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voices. They gesture to the door. Here's Satoshiro outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the loan and then give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their forces, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starbound Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Amber. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their knots complete. This is dangerous and it will be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walked away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave. Sabine's still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their faces. But the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crouch. Und ich würde sagen, wenn euch diese Geschichte bis hierhin interessiert hat, würde ich euch empfehlen, euch das Spiel zu holen. Citizen Sleeper, gerade kostenlos auf Epic Games. Ansonsten würde ich sagen, sehen wir uns auf jeden Fall im nächsten Video wieder. Bis dahin, bleibt gesund und munter und viel Spaß und bis bald. Tschüss.